2021 was a really important year. Global temperatures were about the 6th highest on record. We saw a continuation of extreme events, those floods and fires and heat waves which are associated with climate change and are becoming stronger and longer and more frequent and causing significant environmental and human damage.
Over 11,000 disasters have occurred in the last 50 years, all of which have been attributed either to a weather, climate or water-related hazard. The number of disasters has increased by over 5-fold in the last 50 years, and this has been largely due to the impact of climate change. And in fact, what we're expecting is that over the next 50 years, those same sorts of disasters are going to dramatically increase in both severity and frequency due to climate change.
The only way to stop climate change is by taking our foot off the greenhouse gas accelerator, by reducing our greenhouse gas emissions to net zero as quickly as we can. The Glasgow Conference of Parties last year was a big step towards that. It established the architecture which is needed to actually make this happen. But at the moment we're not seeing the action that is adequate to drive down our greenhouse gas emissions at a global scale.
Increasingly the challenge is how to get very high shares of wind and solar power effectively integrated into electricity supply. And the solutions are manifold. Many of them have to do with storage. And ANU is very active in leading research in this area: decentralized energy storage, grid integration, on top of the traditional research strength in renewable energy, in particular in solar, as well as in the economic and social ramifications of that big picture shift towards clean energy sources that we see unfold.
There's been a global shift in thinking about disasters, from responding to disasters and recovery for disasters to actually preparing for disasters and being resilient to disasters.
Our research shows up solutions as to how the energy transition can unfold in a way that is economically beneficial and also socially desirable.
For me in 2022, there's 4 big things on the horizon. Firstly, we've got 3 major IPCC reports covering impacts and adaptation and emission reduction. Secondly, we've got the Conference of Parties in Egypt, which will take things forward significantly, I think, because of increased engagement by developing countries and by business and community. Thirdly, we've got the federal election here in Australia, which I think climate change will play a big part in. And lastly, I think we're going to see an acceleration of the energy transition we're already seeing in Australia.
So we're going to see a lot more clean energy investments on the grid, renewable energy, but increasingly also in the industry sector. We're also going to see accelerating pace of the energy transition in transport. Very rapid electrification of transport in many places in the world, and that process is also going to gather some speed here in Australia.
And we're also walking the talk. So at ANU we've got our Below Zero program, which not only aims to reduce our net emissions down to zero as quickly as we can, but then to take them below zero, so taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere.
Even if we are successful in reducing carbon emissions, the most severe natural hazards are increasing, and we need to find new solutions. And ANU has a huge opportunity to contribute to reducing the impacts of these disasters, particularly in identifying situations where we can detect the hazard when it is just starting and stop it before it causes damage. This is why we developed the ANU Bushfire Initiative. Our goal is to develop a suite of technologies which detect a fire in remote forest within 1 minute of ignition and extinguish it within 5 minutes. We are now working together across ANU and with our many partners to identify ways to prepare better for other hazards like floods, cyclones and heat waves.
Our research here at ANU helps understand the scientific underpinnings of new ways of creating industrial commodities without any carbon emissions, helps develop the technological solutions, the engineering implementation for zero carbon industries, and also helps governments and societies understand the economic ramifications and in fact the social opportunities that lie in the expansion of industry in a clean, carbon neutral way. Enormous opportunity for Australia there that we are helping realise.
At ANU, we're taking significant steps to deal with these interrelated issues of climate, energy transitions and increasing disaster risk. We've got over 500 researchers working on understanding what the drivers of these problems are, understanding what the impacts of these changes are, and then developing the solutions in partnership with government, with industry and with community.